on JBP, that isn't the only place you can see me. You will always be able to tap in with just me and you, where I can talk over everybody. Then I don't get in trouble for that. Like, I have to actually share attention with other people on other podcasts or podcasts.
Something told me, hold up, go find Mona's independent page. It has to be out there somewhere. So I went digging, scrolling through all of YouTube, and listen to this, I actually found it. Turns out she's had that page sitting there since 2018. Now that part I don't really care about. What caught my eye is that she's posting Don't Call Me White Girl content again. So I said, all right, let me actually do my homework this time, instead of just nitpicking every negative thing I've been seeing, quote unquote, on the podcast. I wanted to understand her. I wanted to see who she really was and what drew her to Joe in the first place. And beyond that, what originally pulled us, the audience, toward her. Because when I first spoke to her, it wasn't hate, it was actually positive. So yeah, I went and found the page. Boom, there it was, plain as day. She's doing this completely independently. Now, I'll admit I probably researched more than I needed to, but I did it anyway. And that's when I noticed she's connected to a page called Rebel Hill. It doesn't have a huge subscriber count, but that's not even the point. It's Philly-based too, and apparently their whole mission is helping entrepreneurs and creators get their ideas out into the world. Okay, cool. So essentially she's signed with a production company. I also noticed Phelps is still part of the show. I see she's got a solid setup. And then I actually sat down and watched the first 3 episodes, y'all. Yes, I studied it. I watched all 3. Going in, I honestly thought I wouldn't enjoy it. The first episode was about 30 minutes long. She touched on a lot of topics, including why she's no longer with Breakbeat Media. And she was very loud about it too, straight up saying forget Breakbeat Media the whole time. And honestly, I don't blame her. But as I'm watching, things start clicking. Now I get why she moves the way she does on the JBP. Even in her intro, she name drops JBP, shout out to that. But then she also says something like, now I gotta pass the mic, now I gotta share. And I'm not gonna lie, that part threw me off. It didn't really make sense at first. So I had to zoom out and think deeper. How is everyone else handling their independent lanes? Joe started decades ago, sure, but whenever he made non-music content, it was always with someone else. Back and forths, debates, arguments, it didn't matter. It was rarely just Joe solo, at least in the viral moments I remember. Same thing with Flip, podcasts with others, interviews, skits with people around him. The same goes for Mark Lamont Hill. And if we're being fair, even Melissa fits that pattern. But then I look at Mona. First episode, 30 minutes. Second episode, like an hour and a half. The third one runs about an hour. I watched every second of it, and I stayed entertained the whole way through. But the negatives I noticed made one thing crystal clear. It explained exactly why she is the way she is on JBP. Phelps doesn't talk much. He's kind of like how Parks was early on in JBP. And that leaves a lot of space, so clearly someone has to fill it. Now this might sound wild, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all, but it's the first comparison that hit me. She's very physical with her comedy. She honestly reminds me of Chris Farley in his prime. So yeah, all those so-called antics, that's part of the bit. And it might sound negative to some people, but trust me, it's really not. And if there's any dead air and it's clearly my platform, then listen, I'm gonna be the one who fills that silence. So I'm reading the room, catching every signal, and it already feels like nobody's really talking to me. At that point, you have to ask, what am I even here for? If you've ever watched my content, you'd immediately understand who I am, why I move the way I do, and why people follow me from platform to platform to platform. Because that was another thing that stood out to me. She pulls views, real views, not the little ones. I'm talking big numbers. And what's wild is she's not even out here heavily promoting where she's dropping this content. That tells me she's still figuring out the independent side of all this. But let me be clear, I was fully entertained. And no, this isn't an ad, this isn't a promo either. I was genuinely entertained. And that made me circle back to the JBP and really question why this doesn't connect. Is it really us, or is it the lack of production structure on the JBP side? Yeah, Joe usually gets credit for giving us a solid show and knowing how to produce good content. But he leads, or at least used to lead by example. He used to openly talk about what he didn't like. And the audience, even the co-hosts, would look at him like, damn, he's really bossing up. Like, why does he come off so controlling? But you've got to look at the product. If he reviews this situation, of course, he's going to have suggestions. Now, with me personally, if I were making one, it'd be simple. You either give Mona her own segments or you clear the runway for her. Because if she gets enough solo moments, then when it's time to mix with everyone else, it'll be way easier for her to step back and let others shine. But you can't take someone out of what they've been doing independently. And I don't mean independent as in contracts or production deals. I mean independent as in people literally show up just to see me. There's a difference between being the main draw and being the only draw. So if I've been the only draw my entire career and you bring me into this space, and you tell me you're gonna mentor me, in my head, mentoring isn't about my value or what I bring to the team. It's about teaching me how to blend with the team.
That's what mentorship looks like to me, helping me learn how to work with others. But now it's being flipped and used against me because suddenly it's, you can't work with people. When the reality is, I'd never had to before. And because most of us already follow Jillian Wall, and because we already love the JBP, we're naturally going to side with them. Like Ice always says, it's a popularity contest. If you like one person more than the other, you're going to give that person grace. And the other one, they won't get nearly as much. So I had to step back and really think about this. What does the product look like if Mona is properly produced with the guys? Nobody else really stands on their own like that. And I'm not trying to pop anybody's bubble. I'm not here to put out private business either. But let's be honest for a second. There are people on this current pod who watch what I do and try to move how I move. Mona is absolutely not one of those people. If anything, they should be taking notes from her. Instead, they've grouped up. And because of how they're reacting, they've pulled the audience over to their side. So now we're all looking at Mona like, girl, what are you even doing over here? And yes, that includes me. So I'm gonna pause on my harshest judgments of her. I'm gonna chill on the negative energy I felt like I was carrying. Because the truth is, I hadn't done my due diligence. But look at this, me, a content creator who critiques y'all, actually doing the work. I went and figured out what the hell is really going on. So if I can do that on my end, hold up, why can't you do that to improve the product? Why can't you do that to give us the best possible version of Mona? Especially when that's the exact reason you brought her here in the first place. Because when she was on Patreon before joining the cast, she was just being herself. She wasn't fighting for airtime, she was a guest. But if you're bringing me on, it's because you like what I do. And I can't get that moment out of my head when she said, "You must not follow Don't Call Me White Girl." And honestly, she wasn't wrong. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments, especially the Mona supporters. Like the video if you rocked with it, subscribe to the page if you haven't already, and if you have, you already know how we're coming. Oh, and quick heads up, I've been dropping heat on Patreon. Just saying, you might want to tap in over there. We're still going up. I appreciate all the love and support. I'll catch y'all soon. Peace.